Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you very much for waiting.
It also appears that COVID-19 is not as deadly as other coronaviruses, including SARS and MERS. More than 80% of patients have mild disease and will recover. WHO is continuing to work night and day on several fronts to prepare countries. We're sending testing kits to laboratories around the world. We're protecting health workers by sending personal protective equipment to many countries, and we're working with manufacturers to ensure supply. We're training health workers. We're providing advice to countries on how to do screening, testing, contact tracing, and treatment. And we have put out a call for $675 million to support countries to prepare. I thank those donors who have contributed. But we have not seen the urgency in funding that we need. As I keep saying, we have a window of opportunity now. We need resources now to ensure countries are prepared now.
In fairness, the majority of the population are adhering to the rules and the guidelines and social distancing and washing their hands and doing all those things. But you're always going to get a proportion of people who just don't seem to get it and are using this time off work, for example, as a little bit of a bank holiday and going away with their mates to the beach for the weekend or hanging around in parks and playing together. So, some people are just, they're not getting it. Some people are not getting it, Peter.
Well, give the Gardaí powers to do what they did, I think, in the Alaman, where there was one guy refused to go into isolation. So now his isolation is looking through bars.
Well, and that's what I can see happening, because that legislation was passed by the President over the weekend for when lockdown does happen, that the guards will have that power. And Peter, I think they will. But listen, Peter, I have to go to break, but I wish you well, Peter, you and your partner, and I hope things work out.
It appears that everyone, well, on social media anyhow, is looking for Ireland to go into a state of full lockdown for at least a couple of weeks in order to contain the spread of COVID-19. However, the government has yet to take that step. The mayors of Dublin, Cork and Galway issued a joint plea for the government to put Ireland into full lockdown. Leo Varadkar will today meet with the National Public Health Emergency Team to discuss the need to implement stricter isolation measures as Ireland faces into a surge of cases that threatens to overwhelm our health service. Now, I'm interested to see that what is expected to be announced is a range of measures to close certain businesses like restaurants, cafes, hairdressers and other service sectors regarded as non-essential. Restrictions will be introduced for outside gatherings, but will not be a full UK-style lockdown, but not far from it, from what we can gather. Just for those of you who didn't happen to see this last night, this is British Prime Minister Boris Johnson explaining, this is just a little bit of what he said, but explaining the severity of the measures that he was introducing.
You must stay at home, because the critical thing we must do to stop the disease spreading between households. That is why people will only be allowed to leave their home for the following very limited purposes. Shopping for basic necessities as infrequently as possible. One form of exercise a day, for example, a run, walk or cycle, alone or with members of your household. Any medical need to provide care or to help a vulnerable person. And travelling to and from work, but only where this is absolutely necessary and cannot be done from home. That's all. These are the only reasons you should leave your home. If you don't follow the rules, the police will have the powers to enforce them, including through fines and dispersing gatherings. To ensure compliance with the government's instruction to stay at home, we will immediately close all shops selling non-essential goods, including clothing and electronic stores, and other premises, including libraries, playgrounds and outdoor gyms and places of worship. We'll stop all gatherings of more than 2 people in public, excluding people you live with. And we'll stop all social events, including weddings, baptisms, and other ceremonies, but excluding funerals.
Okay, now that's just part of what Boris Johnson said yesterday evening with regard to a lockdown of the UK. And as I said, the Lord Mayors of some of this country's biggest cities, including Dublin, have called for Ireland to do the exact same. And I'm joined on the line by one, our very own Lord Mayor here in Dublin, Fianna Fáil's Tom Brabazon. Tom, welcome to 98 FM.
Thanks, Adrian.
A joint statement is a very unusual thing from mayors of Dublin, Cork and Galway, calling on the government to introduce a full, I suppose the best way to describe it is UK-style lockdown. Why was this necessary? Why did you get together like this?
Well, firstly, it is unusual, and the situation the country finds itself is also very unusual. I think the last time there was a pandemic of this nature was 1918 or 1919. I suppose the scenario is on Saturday I got news that a friend of mine had passed away on Saturday night from the virus, and obviously the following day when I saw the people out in Houghton, Portmarnock and Malahide and Glendalough and all these places, throngs of people not observing social distancing.
Hello, good afternoon, and you're very welcome to Liveline. 51551, wash your hands is our text number. Joe at rte.ie from anywhere in the world. Okay, a number of callers today contacting us about their dealings with banks, because as you know, the banks announced last week with great passion, and you saw their representative on the news, great passion, saying that they would step up to the plate and there would be a 3-month moratorium. But some of our callers aren't experiencing that love. Erica, good afternoon.
Hello, Joe. Good to talk to you.
Okay, tell us your story. What happened?
Yeah, exactly as you opened up there. Delighted sitting there last week. Great sense of relief. My husband was on his last pay pack as of last Friday, roughly. So rang up the bank, AIB, if that's okay to name them, and they said, basically we had to meet 3 criteria to avail of that 3 months. Basically, I don't work. My husband's the breadwinner of the house. Mm-hmm. And I was basically told that I have to be in a full-time job as well as he, which I don't understand. And we have to have, wait for it, 2 months mortgage of savings in our current account to prove to them that we have that. Now, if I had that, why would I possibly be ringing them up to say I can't pay my mortgage? I'd be using my savings, obviously, to pay my mortgage.
And did they ask what your husband's employment was?
No, nothing like that, no. Absolutely, no, nothing. We didn't even get into that, we didn't. I just said he's on his last pay pack as of last Friday. I'm ringing up, I said, for me to help you, for you to also help us, so we don't run into arrears with each other, because none of us want that. Hoping I could avail of what Pascal was advertising with great empathy towards the nation, and it certainly wasn't the case for me and my husband and my family. Joe, we're up the
Irish banks are offering a 3-month moratorium to those affected by COVID-19 in order to alleviate financial pressure. The 5 core banks in Ireland, AIB, Bank of Ireland, KBC, Permanent TSB and Ulster Bank, as well as the Banking and Payments Federation, met today to discuss financial measures over... This is the time of writing, over 150,000 people out of work. Unfortunately, it's higher than that. In a bid to help those who've lost their jobs and are under financial strain, the 5 banks are implementing the following measures. A payment break for up to 3 months for business and personal customers affected by CV-19, to be followed by ongoing reviews depending on the scale and extent of the situation. Customers wishing to avail of this payment break should contact their respective bank. You contacted and you were told no.
We were told we didn't meet the criteria for that. But then I was told that maybe we could look into interest-only payments, or there's another type of moratorium you can look into, but you have to send in a financial, I can't think of the name, a financial spreadsheet. So basically they're asking you down to your breakfast, what you've had, your previous...
And that was always there.
Yes, it was all
Anyone,
today.
yeah.
Yes, we're all entitled to do that at all aspects of something goes wrong in your mortgage. But basically, 3 months to 6 months previous bank statements. Now, my 3 months, 6 months previous from to date would be healthy because we have paid our mortgage and we were earning.
Okay,
So
you've-
how does that prove anything regards
Okay.
to?
What business is your husband in?
He's in Wicklow car dealership.
Okay, and is he going to be, or did they raise this issue, is he going to be able to work longer than 3 months?
Well, none of us know
How
that.
do we know exactly? Sorry.
Yes, exactly. So we have to protect next month's mortgage, which comes out next week. So I am relatively going to go into arrears now as of next week.
They're saying apparently AIB have come back to us to say you don't, not you personally, but people don't qualify for the mortgage holiday as your husband will be out of work for longer than 3 months.